shaking my effing head. Yeah, that's not all. Let me come over here. Natalie Esquire. Good Lord. The WNBA's latest Instagram post with a message to the WNBA about the latest CBA negotiations. This is a three-parter, folks. A three-parter. Roses are red, violets are blue. We'd love a...
On February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day, the WNBA Players Association posted a three-part Instagram series filled with heart emojis and relationship metaphors, while collective bargaining negotiations were at stake. Instead of strengthening their position, the approach sparked heavy criticism from fans, analysts, and even some supporters, with many saying the strategy backfired badly.
The WNBA's latest Instagram post with a message to the WNBA about the latest CBA negotiations. This is a three-parter, folks. A three-parter. Roses are red, violets are blue. We'd love a proposal that values players too. This, quote, situationship has gone on for too long.
Let's put the timing into perspective. It's mid-February, and the season tips off in May, leaving roughly 10 weeks to finalize a collective bargaining agreement that will shape everything from salaries and travel standards to revenue sharing. While Breanna Stewart has suggested there's progress, nothing has been officially completed. Meanwhile, credible rumors persist about potential player strike at the NBA All-Star Game, echoing last year's highly publicized "pay us what you owe us" shirts that turned into a PR headache. And in the middle of all this pressure, the union's response was to post Valentine's Day memes.
The CBA for Twitter likes and retweets. It's unbelievable. Honestly, they act like this is a game. Like this is a game. Like the owners gave you a 4 times raise in the first year. First year of the new CBA proposal of 4 times. And then it goes way ass up from there by the end of the CBA. I mean, you're getting a huge...
Here's what the WNBPA shared on its official Instagram. The first slide read, "Roses are red, violets are blue. We'd love a proposal that values players, too." The second featured a heart graphic with the caption, "This situationship has gone on for too long." The third concluded, "Maybe it's time to make it official." If that sounds more like a college student venting about a complicated relationship than a union engaged in high-stakes labor negotiations, you're not alone. The comments section quickly lit up. Union representatives, sports analysts, and even fans who strongly support higher player pay were all asking the same thing. What exactly is going on here?
Unprofessional. I don't get it. My boy CDS Sports Podcast, also, CDS Uncensored. WNBPA keeps screwing up and threatening the greatest opportunity women's basketball has ever had. This immature and counterproductive. Here's a thought. Close it down and go try out for an NBA team. If you make it, you'll get paid well there. And we all know how that's going to go. We all know. Roses are red, violets are blue. We'd love to make a profit. How about you?
Let's look at what's actually being negotiated, because context matters. According to reports, the owner's latest CBA proposal includes a first-year salary increase that would multiply current pay levels several times over. Not a simple cost-of-living bump, but major restructuring of the compensation system, with further increases built in over the life of the deal. They've also reportedly addressed long-standing player concerns around housing, travel standards, and other quality-of-life improvements. On the other side, the union is pushing for a 30% revenue share model that would directly link players' salaries to league income. The challenge is that the WNBA, throughout much of its history, has relied on NBA financial support and has faced ongoing profitability questions, with annual subsidy estimates often cited in the millions. In that context, structuring a large revenue-sharing agreement becomes financially complex. Yet instead of publicly laying out detailed financial arguments or economic projections to support their position, the union chose to communicate through Valentine's Day-themed social media posts, an approach that many critics argue undercut the seriousness of the moment.
I believe the word negotiation means get everything we want. No, you're not getting the 30% revenue share. You're not. I thought this was a rather interesting response here. Half of February's gone. I just said that. Aaron D. Drake, the useless 30-ish DEI Harvard grad, supposedly doing negotiations for the WNBPA, is still busy trolling on IG and TikTok, as per usual. They pay her how much for this? Question mark? Clown. Very mature of her. I guess the CBA talks are still in the tank.
The reaction on social media highlights how this strategy is being perceived. One comment read, "This is weird from a union. I've worked with unions that represent hundreds of people, and this feels so unprofessional. I don't get it." Another said, "They think negotiation means getting everything we want." Someone else added, "The WNBA keeps fumbling the greatest opportunity women's basketball has ever had." That last point stands out because 2024 was widely viewed as a breakthrough year for the league. Caitlin Clark's arrival helped drive record viewership. The championship series averaged more than 1.6 million viewers. Attendance records were broken across multiple markets. Merchandise sales surged. Corporate sponsorships expanded. It was a moment when the WNBA appeared to gain real mainstream momentum. Critics argue that in such a pivotal window, leaning into Instagram-style engagement tactics risks diluting that hard-earned goodwill.
Man, they're absolute effing clowns. Classy, yeah. Is this real? It can't be. Yeah, that that's funny. That's real time. That's Adam Silver looking at this post. And y'all had the nerve to talk shit about Kathy Engelbert? Really? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding. You got the nerve, Nafisia Collier, to come out to your little podium in your little jean jacket. And
now, let's address the elephant in the room. The WNBPA is led by Executive Director Terry Jackson, but much of the visible, day-to-day communication appears to be driven by younger staff who lean heavily on social media as a messaging tool. Some online critics have even singled out members of the leadership team, questioning whether those handling communications are approaching high-stakes negotiations with the appropriate level of professionalism. Whether those critiques are fair or not, perception matters. Where union's public presence features relationship memes during a critical bargaining window, it inevitably shapes how the situation is viewed. And that perception doesn't just live on Instagram. It reaches the people ultimately responsible for financial decisions. Adam Silver and NBA ownership aren't swayed by holiday-themed posts. They're focused on balance sheets, revenue forecasts, long-term sustainability, and whether proposals like a 30% revenue share align with the league's economic reality, i.e. high-level labor negotiations. Credibility is currency. If the public communication strategy feels unserious to some observers, decision-makers may begin to question whether they're sitting across the table from seasoned negotiators or a team prioritizing online engagement.
that's a joke. I mean, yeah, that's a joke. They sent a Valentine's publicly to the owners. Tell me what you think. Wow. Peace.
Let's break down what's happening and why it matters for the future of the league. First, collective bargaining is fundamentally about leverage. The players hold some leverage because the league doesn't want to strike during a momentum year. The owners hold leverage because the WNBA operates at a loss and could theoretically pause operations without significantly affecting the NBA's bottom line. The Valentine's Day post suggests the union either doesn't understand this dynamic or doesn't care, and that's dangerous. Negotiating from a position of economic weakness demands strategy, professionalism, and public support, not memes that generate headlines for the wrong reasons. Second, consider the optics. Last year, Players wore "Pay us what you owe us" shirts at the NBA All-Star Game. That framing was flawed. The NBA has subsidized the WNBA for nearly 3 decades as an investment, not an obligation. Presenting it as something owed alienates the very people funding the league. The Valentine's Day campaign repeats the mistake. Calling negotiations a situationship implies the league isn't serious, ignoring the fact that owners offered a 4-fold salary increase and made concessions on multiple fronts. Third, think about potential investors and sponsors. The WNBA is positioning itself as a professional, investable league. Companies are assessing labor stability, management professionalism, and long-term viability. Seeing a union post relationship jokes during critical CBA negotiations raises questions about whether the league is truly ready for serious investment. Fourth, internal dynamics matter. Not all players agree with the union's public approach. Some recognize the substantial salary increases being offered and understand the economic realities of a league that has never turned a profit. But public stance that forces all players into the same narrative makes it harder for moderate voices to advocate compromise. Fifth, consider the contrast with other leagues. NBA and NFL unions approach negotiations with economists, labor lawyers, and detailed financial data. The WNBA union posts Valentine's Day memes. That's not strategy. That's not leverage. That's treating $1 billion negotiation like a social media campaign, and it won't work. Six, think about stars like Caitlin Clark, who elevated the league's profile. She drove record viewership, sold out arenas, and generated unprecedented media attention, all while earning a rookie salary far below market value. Memes and situationship jokes undermine the credibility of negotiations and weaken leverage earned through real performance and market impact. Seventh, consider the historical moment. Women's basketball is breaking through culturally. The NCAA tournament drew huge ratings, the WNBA draft became must-watch TV, and regular season games aired in prime time. This is the moment to cement the league's mainstream position. Yet the union is focused on Instagram engagement that provokes mockery rather than support. Eighth, the economic question remains clear. Should WNBA players earn more? Absolutely. The 4-fold salary increase is a step forward, and world-class players deserve pay reflecting skill and market value. But making that case requires economic evidence, not relationship metaphors. Strategic, data-driven negotiation is necessary. Memes reduce a complex discussion to a joke and undermine the argument for higher compensation. Ninth, leadership matters. Terry Jackson has led the WNBA since 2016. Under her tenure, public messaging has grown confrontational, while negotiation results have been mixed. At a critical moment in 2025, the union's public strategy, Valentine's Day memes, raises questions about whether leadership has the expertise in labor law, economic analysis, and professional negotiation needed to navigate these discussions effectively. 10th, what should the union be doing instead? They should be releasing detailed economic analyses, showing how revenue growth supports higher salaries, highlighting impacts on player quality of life, and demonstrating how investing in compensation benefits league sustainability and talent acquisition. The approach should be professional, strategic, and grounded in data, not social media stunts. The reality is clear. The season starts in May. The CBA isn't finalized. The owners have offered a 4-fold salary increase, and the union is posting relationship memes. The WNBA had unprecedented momentum, and the union risks undermining it with social media engagement instead of strategy, leadership, and professional labor relations. If you were Adam Silver looking at these Valentine's Day posts, would you take the union more seriously or less? Would you offer more concessions or wait for serious negotiations to begin? Drop your thoughts, because the next few weeks will determine whether the WNBA capitalizes on its breakthrough moment or squanders it entirely.